ride. We got the green light now, let's go. There's nothing left to decide. All our foolish fears we left behind us with friends. We'll catch back up with them when the world comes to an end. And you don't need no confirmation to pass. The old ways were both one foot in the grave. They were never meant to last. And now we've got a new enzyme. We sail the seven seas until the end of time. We're headed to a storm. It's plain for all to see. They are the masters of their ship, but not their destiny. And you don't need no spaceship ticket to go. They'll file into their junk rooms until the gold mine begins to flow. And I've got my other special, one of my other special technologies.
I got me one too.
Yeah, I saw it. What state are you in, bro?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Oh, kick ass. That's where my family's from originally.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. My folks live out in Tomball. I was raised in Houston.
Oh, yeah, kick ass. Houston's a badass motherfucker.
It's pretty cool, man.
Uh-huh.
I hear Austin's pretty badass.
It's the #1 city in the world, brother.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what Forbes magazine said. I said it's the #1 boomtown in the world.
Hell yeah.
I didn't mean America, I meant the world. But anyway,
right.
welcome to another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Woo! 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 With us today, we have Sean from Louisiana, from the Sea of Truth. Sean, are you with us?
Absolutely, man. Woo!
Hey, man, I see you. Hey, how's it going?
Excellent. Yourself?
It's going pretty good.
Awesome.
I was doing my little beer thing, and I think I got a little moisture on the old laptop here, which is a big no-no. So just give me a second, please. How long have you had your show, son?
I just started it, man. Maybe about 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's kick ass. Gunter, come here.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube for a while, you know.
Oh yeah. Since we're doing a show and tell, you see him?
Out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. I think you can hear me, but your picture froze up. But that's all right.
Eventually, hopefully, was maybe I grow big enough to where if the channel does get deleted or whatever, they could go to another place and let everybody know. You know, we got to combat this censorship. The censorship is ridiculous. You know.
Yeah, that's no good. And Sean, let me tell you, I saw your dog there. And so I went to grab my dog. I don't know if you saw him, but I was saying, do you see him? And I couldn't get a reaction from you. And then I noticed that your picture was frozen.
Yeah.
And so the audience didn't actually catch most of what you said, except about the censorship. But we were talking about your show, The Sea of Truth. You've had it on 2 weeks. And then, but you've been a YouTube user for how long?
It was since the conception of YouTube.
Okay. And so anything, fill us in on anything that we might have missed there. Sorry about that. We must have had a technical glitch.
Oh, so I was just saying, I created the channel in hopes, you know, eventually maybe one day I'll be big enough, or, you know, put that aside. A channel to where if a channel does get created, maybe they can use mine as like a town hall of sorts, or, you know, a place to let people know where their new channel, where they can be found at. You know, it seems like we're waking up and all these channels that we're used to seeing on a daily basis just disappear, and that's
That's
wrong.
right. And what, in your opinion, do you think is the main reason that some of them disappeared?
I think it's the truth, to be honest with you. I mean, by now we should all realize or know that the main media, the mainstream media, is owned by the same group of people. Even though it's different channels or whatever, it's still the same group of people. It's still the only one message getting out, and I really believe that's why Alex Jones got hit. That's a prime example. They took him off all platforms, and, they're trying to get him not to have a voice. And I think there's going to be a major false flag coming up. They're trying to, stop anything but the mainstream narrative of getting out, I believe.
Yeah, and I've got my, that the question of Alex Jones is a bigger question, which, maybe can't be addressed here in full. I can advise the listeners to listen to a guy that doesn't like me, or I don't think he likes me. He's never said that, but his name is Josh Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Josh Reeves?
Just through you.
Okay, yeah, because I have that one video, the assassination of Josh Reeves and stuff like that. And let me just clarify this. I mean, that's rude as hell, to put a video about somebody saying they're fixing to get assassinated. But I thought that he was, but I didn't say anything about it. But then last October, when he came out and said that he thought that he was going to get assassinated, I'm like, game over, boom. I was on it, so I made the video. And someone the other day was questioning me about it on the comments or something. Say, hey, you made this prediction or whatever. And no, I don't. And that's not a prediction. I don't want it to come true.
Right.
That guy has done more for the truth community.
Right.
He's got an amazing voice. So no, you're right. The truth is what has been shutting all this shit down. Mm-hmm. And maybe what I meant by that question, or let me just kind of answer it. What was the mechanism that they used, or the tool that they used, or the procedure that they used to stifle the truth or to start to shut it down? Now, mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of this thing called adpocalypse?
I did. Yes, I did.
This, I don't know, maybe happened about at least over 2 years ago.
Right.
And the YouTube channel proprietors, such as you and me, used to get money for having so many views because they're putting advertisements on there and stuff like that. Well, that hasn't gone away. But the numbers have been crunched so hard. There's a guy, one of the top earners on YouTube. He makes money. I think he still makes his living like that. I think he does stuff with like race cars or like, turning your car into a hot rod or something like that. Has lots of, sponsors and stuff. But he has to have 1 million views. 1 million views for
That's
them
insane.
to pay. Yeah, for them to pay him $1,000.
Wow, that's insane.
Wow, I mean, if we had to make a living like that, our bills wouldn't be getting paid too much, would they?
Yeah, you're right.
That's something else. So, yeah, they really put the binders on it like that, and so and a lot of these channels, especially in our genre, the conspiracy genre, where everyone's searching for the truth,
mm-hmm.
and we, searching for the bad guys, and we think to ourselves, well, who are these bad guys? And, we may not know, but one thing we've seen that they all have in common is they've got all the money, or they've got a lot of money. And so somehow in that process, it became a sin to make money with your, YouTube conspiracy channel.
Sure.
Or it started, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's one thing that's one paradigm I'm trying to shatter. Because
mm-hmm.
although there could be some possible, problems with that and stuff like that, what's the alternative? Is that just everyone goes away?
Right, and that's what they want,
Exactly.
That's why the apocalypse happened. They want to discourage anybody and everybody. They want you to resort to them, and that's it. That's
right. But now, it may have affected everybody, but everybody wasn't targeted. It was our genre, the truther community. They weren't trying to shut down all the people in cosmetics, all the people in racehorses, and all that stuff. It's us they wanted to shut up.
Well, we're making a difference. Now you have the younger generation let's say my oldest is 12, and all he does is watches YouTube. So now we have this young generation that's growing up, and they're questioning everything, and that's beautiful. What's wrong with questioning something?
Nothing at all. You know,
Mm,
it's what we should be doing.
absolutely.
So the focus of your show, you mentioned that you having, and now you also said it was a type of community, you know, deal where, you know, people can announce they've got a new channel that's starting and stuff like that. But the focus of your show is mostly about like YouTubers and YouTube channel proprietors.
Right. Yeah. I just want to, interview any creator. Really, I've asked, the people that I enjoy watching, yourself, but mainly anybody that has a channel. Hopefully, my intentions was to be kind of like the town hall or something of YouTube. Not a place of drama, not a place of like exposing people or anything of that nature. Just a place where people could go learn about each other. Maybe there's awesome creators out there, and some people just never come across them. So, that I was wanting to kind of focus on that, and then also kind of like experiences. Maybe people, some of us are, let's say, more fortunate than others. They get to travel to some places that some of us may only dream about. So, maybe kind of encountering their vacations or skydiving or wrestling an alligator, just a badass wicked experience.
Yeah, that's one things I try to do with my show, as often as I can, which isn't that often. But I went to investigate the petroglyphs in Moab, Utah, just a few months ago. But we're actually planning a trip right now to Bolivia here in 2
Oh, wow.
months.
Yeah, that Utah, they got some awesome hieroglyphs. And you think that's a Stargate, you see?
Well, there may be a Stargate there. They've got all these
I believe
arches,
so.
you know,
Right.
and they've got this one arch. They've got Arches National Park, which has all these badass arches in it. But actually, one of the baddest arches is outside of Arches National Park, and it's just a road you can go down, and it's called the Corona Arch.
Okay.
And if you just give me just a moment here, as you know, we can, you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
what do you think
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. Yeah, that's bad.
It was so
Bad,
badass.
man.
I incorporated it into one of my versions of my Bases Texas logo, and I guess people will be watching this, but I'm really busting myself here. But yeah, that's not Texas. That's Moab, Utah. But anyway,
Hey, Texas is badass, man.
yeah. On that first picture I sent you without the logo on it, at the very bottom, do you see a tree?
Oh, yeah, right, the tree. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a big tree, a very big tree.
No doubt.
Yeah, so it's like under that hole, you see the hole there.
Right?
You could put, dude, you could put a mansion inside there. I mean, that's how big it is. It's
Wow.
fucking huge. I'm about a quarter of a mile away from it when I took that picture.
Now, do you think that was originally man-made?
Very good question, or something made.
Right, something
They're
made.
put out there as natural formations, and some of them maybe having to do with the geology of the area. That
Hmm.
particular one, I don't think it is.
Right.
It's
I mean,
too,
that's a perfect circle.
yeah, and it's too shamanistic looking.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it almost looks like something where you get in there at night and gaze up at the stars.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I don't know exactly how I would go about this because I'm sure, but there's no security in this area. There's little
Mm.
things that they put up where to walk and stuff like that, and I'm sure it's against some law somewhere. But I would like to, with all the tourists as they go in during the day, I would like to take a brief backpack and stuff like that, and then just get off the beaten trail, and then just
Oh,
wait for everyone to go home and camp
man,
out in that
especially
thing.
on the right equinox, that'd be perfect right there.
Yeah, get in there and and camp out inside that deal.
Whoa, man.
It would
That's
be.
definitely on the bucket list.
It really is, man. And I don't know. It could get scary though,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
don't know what goes on there at night.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Have you heard of the creation myth of the Hopi Indians?
I have heard of it. I don't have it memorized, but that has to do with the Kachina dolls.
And the Kachina dolls that's a weird thing in itself, isn't it?
Absolutely. hmm Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I kind of find your channel very captivating is a lot of these people will put out these theories or ideas, but you have a certain way of explaining it, and I don't want to get into the details, and I just want to say this. I'm definitely gonna, I got the Vegas Pro software. I'm gonna edit this stuff, and if there is anything that's mentioned at all, I got my notebook right here. If you just kind of let me know, I'll definitely make sure it's edited out. But I guess with your life experiences, you have a awesome way of explaining things and making people understand what the others bring up.
Yeah, and I'm not
You know,
in the penitentiary what they call a scary motherfucker. I ain't scared. At the same time, I'm like yourself. I'm not really too much pointing the finger at others. I notice with your town hall deal, it's really a brave deal what you're doing, but at the same time, you're not really like going after somebody in one subject and trying to say pointing the finger and doing all that. And I think that's
exactly.
actually where things get dangerous.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
yeah. And so, we both got lives to live and,
Mm,
good times to have and stuff like that. And of course,
mm.
and families and stuff like that. So we're not trying to get into any trouble like that. But
Right.
I, you know,
I mean, you want to tell me a little bit about that creation theory?
you bet I do.
Awesome.
It is, there was several floods and stuff like that it talks about. Um, but the main thing is during one of these floods, the quote unquote ant people
hmm
came down, or excuse me, came up from the ground and took the Hopi Indians and took them underground.
Right.
For I don't know how long. I don't. They weren't just like in a hole. I'm guessing it's like one of these super big caverns that you hear about.
Right. hmm Yeah, and that's you see them depicted in these hieroglyphs, and I think the legend of the ant people, are very well known, I believe. And it makes a lot of sense. Um, Especially, I guess, if maybe you believe in hollow earth or things of that nature. It definitely seems plausible.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and especially if you're into the Hollow Earth. It's like, yeah, and give me just a moment here. You just mentioned those hieroglyphs, and so the deal is, I was trying to send you a picture, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with right here. So just give me a moment here. Oh, oh, you have, no wonder. Okay, yeah. Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. There we go. There we go, you little bastard. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you with the little technical challenge I was having there. Okay, cool. I got it, and now I'm getting ready to send it to you. Okay, I just sent it to you. All right, and that is definitely not the best picture. It's actually some little thing I made that I announced my shows at and everything. But if you'll try to look at the images behind the words and up
Right.
above me, and that's one of the pictures that I took in Moab, Utah, and then I put a filter on it to where it's making it that red and purple color. Obviously, that's not what it looked like,
Mhm.
but I put that extreme filter on it so that to bring out the contrast, so that you can see those figures. But the two main ones seem to have like a triangular body or torso that's very broad at the shoulders, and then it goes down to a point. And now look at their heads.
Mhm.
And one of them has like these little pincers or something coming out of his, jawline, kind of like this. And then the other one looks weird too. So those are the ant people. And the one that's in the blue circle, in his right arm or hand, it seems to be a shield or something
Mhm.
like that. And oh wait, I just thought of something. Hold on, this will just take a second. I can't believe I didn't think about this a second ago. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. We're gonna. Okay, well that's okay. Yeah, this is gonna make it much better for the audience here. Let's see, get this out of the way, get that out of the way, get that out of the way. Okay, there's one thing I couldn't get out of the way, but this is going to be also, I'm going to show the same image. Well, it's going to look different when the audience sees it, but obviously I want you to see as good of an image as we can get, so that we can discuss it. And so here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Okay, now I just have to find the file with your name on it. Oh, here we go. All right, I think it's going along smoothly here. All right, there we go. And there it is. Okay. Now I'll send it to you. Okay, there we go. Cool. I'm hoping you can see that much better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you'll notice, the one that's a blue circle is around him. He has what to me looks like a shield in his right hand or his right arm. But if you look at his left hand, and the other one has this too, it looks like a miniature bow and arrow.
Right. Mhm.
It's unmistakably that's what it is. And so there's many questions that can be asked about this. Okay, is that a weapon? Did the natives get their idea? Is it a laser weapon that looks like a bow and arrow? And so the Indians made something that looked like it, and they came up with the bow and arrow? Or is it? If another thing you'll notice, I'm not sure if you can see it, I can't necessarily because I'm looking at the same picture that you are. But if there's any men in the picture, but whenever a man is depicted next to some of these beings, they're very much smaller.
Mhm. That's right.
And so this bow and arrow might be a little bow and arrow that they're giving. Yeah, that looks good. I should have said something about that to you before, but no, it looks perfect now.
All right.
Yeah, you're moving space and time.
If only I could.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so anyway, now another interesting thing. Do you see the pentagon or the pentagon on the left side of my head? The pentagon shape. It's like these circle, it's like the circle. It's an image that I put there. It's an outline.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay. There's a weird looking creature in there. I don't know how much you can see of it, but I mean, it looks like kind of like a dog or something like that with a man's head. It's weird.
Right.
No,
it might be to the right. I don't know if I can quite see it in this one, but
it's like a pentagon, like a five-sided pentagon. It's to the right of my head. In other words, if you were, you and me looking at it, it's to the left of my head. But
right.
It's on the other side of my head as where that circle is.
I see. Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, and then there's other things that I'm not sure that we can see in that picture or not, but just one thing I wanted to mention, this is not even too, conspiratorial or anything. They have many pictures of antelopes in all of these petroglyphs. So obviously this is an animal that was around there quite a bit. I'm sure they hunted it. It was a food source. The bones and stuff, they probably made tools with it. But some of the antelopes have their horns are sticking out here, and on some of them, you can only see one horn, because it's in a profile. But
Right.
because all of this stuff is more basically like kind of two-dimensional looking or whatever, their type of art. But there's other ones where they're in a profile, but you can see two horns. Well, there's this guy he's the guy who was not trained in a university or anything, but he was part Hopi Indian, but he was, I think, maybe about 75% white. But he had been orphaned, so he also grew up with the Indians, and he had learned a lot about it, even though most of and this is a long time ago. I mean, he was doing these discoveries right in the 50s when he was already an old man, but I mean, he was probably born around 1900 or something. But even by that time, or by the 1920s or 1930s, a lot of this had been lost because these were oral traditions that the Indians traditionally kept, And back then it wasn't nearly as popular to be part Indian or whatever, And
Right.
I don't have any evidence or anything that I'm part Indian, but so many people, as you know, in Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, have Indian blood in them. And we think that, it's possible that I'm maybe about like 164th Indian or something like that.
Oh yeah, no man. The tribe paid for my mom's dad's funeral, and my great grandma lived and died on a reservation. Definitely got some Indian in me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's that irrefutable. And so, a lot of the tradition had been lost, but they've gone, and a certain tribal elders and stuff like that did continue these things because, they have their leadership, their chieftain stuff, and their sergeant at arms, their military aspect, and of course they have their shamans, their medicine men. But this guy, what that deal is with the antelope, what I was telling you, is most of the petroglyphs, not all of them, but most of them are like maps to certain places that are right around there. And if an antelope has one horn, that means it's close. If it has two horns, that means it's further away. And the further away part their horns are, the further away that it is. So I thought that was interesting.
I bet you have a fun time there, man.
I did.
Yeah. Especially knowing what you know. I bet that was almost like a treasure hunt.
It really was, man. Yeah, I went there. I guess I did go there for that specific purpose. You've heard about the Denver airport, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I will. I'll put some. Have you heard about that big horse statue that they have?
Yes, the white horse, the pale horse.
No, I think it's black. I don't know. It was raining, but anyway, I got pictures of it. But it does have red eyes.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was like a pale bluish type color or something.
Yeah, it is blue. Yeah, that comes to think of it. Dark. Now, but you know about the murals inside the Denver airport?
Right, the original. Right, they got rid of those. I believe.
No, they didn't. Let me tell you, they were there 3 months ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
A big Nazi soldier,
right,
holding up a big sword like this, and he has he has a sword like this, and it's going into the dove of peace, and then he's holding an AK-47, and he has a gas mask on, and there's these women and children trembling at his feet. They look like they're hiding from him.
Right.
Have you seen that?
I have.
Yeah, I got pictures of it and pictures of me with it, and so right here I'll be posting them. So our viewers, you know what it looks like, so our viewers can see that too. So yeah, Denver Airport is a trip, and there's rumors that there's a big underground base there.
I don't know if it's rumors. I mean, I believe there's 4 buildings underground, and then they got those 2 big squares that go deep into underground. And I believe, I might be mistaken, but I think there was an intergalactic treaty signed there or something of that nature.
Well, I don't know. You mean like an intergalactic treaty that is that we can that's in the public realm where people can just download it, or what?
I don't know. There's this guy I came across. I think his name was like Bill Schaefer or something, and he did this interview. He's assassinated now. I know the government did like maybe 12 attempts on him or something, and he was going around giving these seminars, and he said that he always wondered why he was in charge of these. He was a contractor, how he was in charge of these big government construction sites. And he says that there's some underwater bases, and he talks about the Denver, and he sends some blueprints, but he says that his father told him on his deathbed in the hospital that he was one of the scientists that came over during Paperclip, and so Schaefer, I think it was his name, I'm pretty sure it was his name, he worked for the military, and
was his first name Philip? Phil?
Actually, that is. I thought it was Bill, but I think you're right. That's right.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember his name. You know, we're one of us will remember it in a second. We'll go, aha. And he's the guy that claims to have been working on an underground base, and he went down there and had a gunfight with these fuckers. Is that right?
Right. That's right. That's right. And supposedly only humans can go like 4 layers, and then they can't go past that. That's for extraterrestrials or something like this.
Yeah, no, and I don't know that was actually at the Denver airport. I think that could have maybe been at Dulce.
Right.
I'm not sure, but yeah, his name is Philip. I'll think of it here in a second. Yeah, he was for sure assassinated.
Absolutely.
And he has missing like a couple fingers off of his hand that supposedly got shot off by a laser.
Mm-hmm.
And then he killed several of those aliens.
You know, but I don't think they're like interstellar. You know, I almost don't believe in an interstellar probability. It's got to be dimensional, you know.
Well, yeah, I have to agree with you on that wholeheartedly. I mean, you know, I don't want to say too much here, because I'm not in knowledge and I'm not in the know. But as we know from in the higher levels of these or echelons of these conspiracy stuff, the very question of outer space comes into question.
Right.
I mean, What is it? Is it really there? You know what I mean? It's like, one thing's for sure, we didn't go to the fucking moon.
No, ain't no way in hell we went to the moon. Ain't no way we went to the moon.
No, we didn't go to the moon.
No,
And
we don't have no rover on Mars.
Oh,
There's
hell
no
man. Somebody was, on all these conspiracy groups or Facebook pages that we're members of and stuff like that. They'll be posting that shit all the time. Well, look at this. And I mean, I was looking. It's like they try to make them look fake.
Absolutely.
They try to make them look fake just to stick it in our nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they came out with a report maybe a month ago. Had sandstorms and all this. You know, that rover's been up there a while. You would think that sand would cover the solar panel. You would think that sand would cover that lens. You know, that's all a bunch of crock. That's so they can get, like $50 million a day of our tax-paying, tax money, to fund them.
You know where these spacewalks are filmed?
Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said he filmed that one in, what was the movie? 2000 or something like that.
Well, yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, well, Jay Weidner, who's an international filmmaker and world renowned, Stanley Kubrick developed a process called the backlit something or the other, and it has to do with special effects. Well, and the very first movie supposedly that used it was 2001: A Space Odyssey, but that's not true. The very first movie that used it was the Apollo moon landings.
That's right.
For sure.
I think you mentioned, perfect footprints, how, not to mention the vacuum of space. There's no way fire can happen in the vacuum of space. So to have thrust on a rocket in a vacuum is 100% impossible,
Yeah, it's all a bunch of bullshit. And what's real interesting about it is the people that have confronted these astronauts, like Buzz Aldrin. I think I know that he's still alive, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's punched out some people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he may not have gone to the moon, but he's probably still a pretty tough son of a gun.
Yeah, he's a badass. I hope I'm not, much of a badass at that age.
Me too. Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with old Buzz Aldrin. But what's interesting about it is a lot of these, and they've even talked about it, a lot of them, that when they're recounting their experiences, they'll start to maybe get a headache or something like that. In other words, they've got program. In other words, here's the point I'm trying to make. We were thought, especially kind of my generation, brought up in the United States, that the ultimate pinnacle of manhood, the ultimate thing that you could be, would be an astronaut.
That's right.
It's the height of humanity. And now what we're learning is astronauts are like the most heavily mind-controlled. You know, they really know that they haven't been, but they still put a fuckload of mind control on them to, like, give them a headache if they start telling the truth or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's bizarre. And, you know, the first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, there's such a good point in that. I mean, if you were the world's #1 celebrity, the toast of the world, you know, you'd think you'd be doing around interviews and shit like that. He did like maybe 3 interviews in his whole life after that. He just became a recluse.
Yeah, he don't want nothing to do with it.
No,
And that should say everything right there. You know, people should look at the context clues and realize the truth instead of what they're force feeding us. You know.
Exactly. And there was one before that, one of the astronauts that trained for the Apollo missions, Gus Grissom. Have you heard about him?
Mm-hmm.
He was so convinced, you know, that he knew that it couldn't go up into space. And in one photo op or something like that, he even took a lemon and hung a lemon on a string inside with him standing there inside the space capsule. And apparently, you know, when they were taking a photo op or something, and apparently that was the final insult because they had it up to here with him.
That's right.
And you know what they did to him, right?
You might have to remind me.
They were doing a test firing or a test something, this or that or the other, and they put him in the capsule, him and 2 other astronauts, and fucking burned him up.
That's right.
They never left the ground. They just fucking barbecued him. They shut him up, man.
And it tells you what happens when you talk. You know, when you know the right information, you say something. You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one thing to talk, but it's another thing to be an active astronaut and be sitting there putting them down on camera and shit. You know what I mean? I don't think you or me have to worry about that. You know.
No. Right.
But yeah, interesting note. You've heard of William Cooper? Bill Cooper?
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, arguably, or not even really arguably, the greatest conspiracy theorist that ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
And he, in his most famous book, Behold a Pale Horse,
mm-hmm.
he accused my great uncle by name.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my great uncle's name is in that book. And are you familiar with my great uncle?
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, he accused him, you know, Congressman George Mahon, of being the one who created the dumb bases, deep underground military bases, joint alien military bases.
Well, speaking of that, what was it like? What was it like growing up? You know, with that being in your lineage.
Well, it was just a normal childhood, and there are very few people. I'm probably maybe the only one in my family that truly understands the depth of it, or actually what's going on. I'm sure they think I'm all crazy. You know, they
right.
Just seeing the title of my book. You know,
mm-hmm.
My family created the national security state. No need to thank me, or actually, no need to thank me. But no, I was told growing up that that my great uncle he had more power than I could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, And then what I ultimately learned is that he had more power than they could imagine. Because they don't even know the half of it.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Only he truly knows. That's for sure.
Yeah, and so they had, yeah, right. And so he had names or like nicknames they called him, but one of them is they just called him the chairman, because that's how he came to control all of these programs and create them. Is he was the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, and the Appropriations Committee controlled the entire defense budget of the United States. So technically, you could say that a whole committee controlled, which they did, but subtly, everyone just went along with the chairman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he couldn't have had maybe been outvoted or had the power taken away from him, but it just didn't work like that. Those were the good old days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely not like that now.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. We don't even know how it works now, but most of us didn't know how it worked back then because. You know what I'm telling you? I mean, think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's the democracy. These people can all vote and everything, but they're not going to go against this guy. And it's not. I don't know why it is. It's not because they're scared of him or what he'll do or something. It's just something that's understood. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so when they first decided to make the atomic weapon, there was only like 3 people that knew, or 3 or 4 people in the world that knew about it. One of them was this general, and he came to the Appropriations Committee for just like a huge amount of money, wanting to develop a weapon that would end the war, and they
Right.
gave it to him. And then he came back about 6 months later and wanted twice that much, way more money than anyone's ever been given. And they talked about it, and they said, based on this guy's, it's like, we trust this guy. They gave it to him. Well, he came back 6 months later and wanted even twice more than that. And they're like, hold on. You got to tell us what's going on. No secrets this big. And then he came back to him about a week later, and he said, here's the deal. I'll tell one man. We'll let one man in on the secret. And, of course, everyone agreed that it should be my Uncle George Mahon. And they went and he knew about it before the president. He knew about it before even some of the top scientists. And they let him in on it. And he came back and he said, yeah, we need to give this on the stamp of approval. And they did. That was the Manhattan Project, to develop the world's first nuclear weapon.
Nobody knew what they were doing. I mean, everybody was assigned that one task, but nobody knew outside their task what they were doing.
Exactly.
And that's for sure. And so, they had whole villages or whole towns, communities set up, and each one had their own little project or whatever, and no one else knew. So when you think about that was possible or that did happen, and then people say, well, you have all these people that work at NASA. You would think by now they would expose them or tell the truth or whatever. We can look back to the Manhattan Project because history always repeats itself, and we can see it was done there,
That's a very good point, man. That is a very good point, because that is one of the main things that people say when they're going against conspiracies or thinking it's real. And my dad, who's dead now, God rest his soul, he was one of these people. He didn't believe in conspiracy and everything because he thought if somebody would blow the whistle.
Right.
And let me tell you, man, people blow the whistle every fucking day. Thousands of people, they blow the whistle and nothing happens. And it's not until you go to the local news and then the local news decides to run the story and then it starts snowballing and then that person has a heart attack or has a wreck.
Every time.
That's, and if it's like these dead doctors, these holistic doctors, have you followed that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like 100 or almost 100 of them.
Yeah, I don't know how many it is. It was like 72 almost a year ago. So it's probably well over 100 now.
Right.
And these are, and basically what it amounts to is, my father died of cancer, so I don't mind. I'm not scared to tell the whole world this. There is a cure for cancer.
I believe so.
For
absolutely.
sure, yeah. And it's called GCMAF. It's the GC multiphage. And this is actually a protein compound that is produced by the body naturally. And so we've always had a built-in defense against cancer, and that's the GC multiphage. Well, with the advent of mechanized agriculture or industrialized agriculture, it started depleting the soil of vital nutrients and stuff, and they found this out decades ago, and they found out that there was something it was making or whatever. It's called the nagalase inhibitors. And the nagalase inhibitors is what kills the GC multiphage. Well, once they found that out, they started pumping all the nagalase inhibitors. Just put, fuck letting nature do it. Just put it straight in our food. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So we're just eating tons of nagalase inhibitors all the day. Well, but you can even if you've got like stage 4 cancer, you can still be cured. And I hope that there's people are listening to this broadcast right now. If you or a loved one is suffering from cancer, I'm telling you, they can be cured. I mean, there's a certain point where you can't be cured, and it is, of course, last time I checked, it was illegal to get GC multiphage in America.
Wow.
Go figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can order it from overseas and have it sent to you, and keep it in the refrigerator and start injecting yourself with it. You can save your life. You can save the life of a loved one. You can have that shit shipped to you. And probably no one's going to fuck with you unless you're like a doctor and you start curing your patients.
Right.
That's where they draw the line.
Yeah, they seem to knock them off, man. I've seen a couple interviews with doctors, and they go through the process of how they've cured cancer, and then this one guy even says AIDS he cured, and then after a month or two of them putting this information out, they're no longer with us.
No, they're not, because they committed suicide.
Yeah.
They were so depressed about all the lives that they were saving. So they just had to kill themselves. But there are some very unique suicides. For instance, Dr. Bradstreet shot himself in the chest with a shotgun twice, and then dragged himself into the creek.
Well, that is amazing.
Yeah, he got a lot of strength, doesn't he? And then there was another doctor. He must have been like Houdini, because he committed suicide. And where they found him with his hands tied behind his back, his feet tied together, his throat slit, and he was stuffed into the trunk of his car.
And that was suicide. Wow.
That was suicide. And
Wow.
so what's going on with that? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. These are assassinations, but more than assassinations, they're examples. There are messages to other doctors. Hey, you want to play? You want to fuck around? We can do this. We have the power to control any local municipality, any morgue, any mortician, any police chief of police, any mayor. We own this shit.
Right.
Fuck around.
Right.
That's the message.
Absolutely.
And so, there's one lady, I can't remember her name, but she's the lady that carries the banner on all these dead doctors, and goes out and so she's very brave. I wish I knew her name.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's got her videos and stuff. So
yeah, I'll watch them.
One other thing I want to say about the GC multiphage, they also found out that it cures autism.
Oh, wow.
In children. The GC multiphage had a 95% cure rate, not going into remission, curing forever cancer, and an 85% cure rate of autism.
That's amazing.
I know it. And we know that the autism comes from the vaccinations that they give the children when they're 18 months old.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, that's where it comes from, because autism used to be 1 in every 50,000 children would have autism. Now it's like 1 in every 1,000.
Maybe 1 in every 5.
Well, yeah, the number keeps growing, and then they're also discovering new levels of autism, just slight autism or whatever, It's incomprehensible.
And they're not really our friends,
Who?
It's crazy.
Who?
My youngest, we don't vaccinate. My middle and my oldest, we did vaccinate them when they were young. I didn't really know what I know now, but my newborn is about to be a year old. We haven't vaccinated the first thing,
Oh, you
and they don't last forever. They only have like maybe a few year lifespan,
Right, and it's for diseases that nobody has anyway.
That's right.
So you did not have your child vaccinated?
No,
Well,
not
that's very smart, and it's also very brave of you to admit that, and I salute you for that. And they're like, when the child is ready to go, are you going to have to homeschool him or something? Don't they like keep him from going to school or something? Or
yeah, well, in some states, and in some states it is mandatory, but I'm fortunate for the state that I live in, it's not. We'll have to sign some papers saying it's for some religious rights. I know, like, if you claim you're a Jehovah's Witness, you can get away with it. But I'm thinking about homeschooling. We have no offense to anybody, but we have transgenders in the libraries, reading drag queen story time with second graders, and teaching them about being a drag queen. So do I really want to raise my children in that atmosphere anyways? So homeschooling might not be a bad idea by the time he goes to school. We got 5 more years before that even takes place.
Yeah, because who knows how bad it'll be then,
That's right,
And I think Louisiana is a pretty conservative state, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine like California or New York, it's probably, you get fined if you don't have a transgender nanny or something,
I wouldn't be living there, that's for sure.
Yeah, fuck that, huh? Fuck that noise.
You know what kills me?
What's that?
Let's say like, let's take Austin, for example. You got people coming from California and New York, the most liberal states there is, and then they're going to a town in the most conservative state probably in the Union, and yet they want to turn it into exactly what they're leaving from. What sense is that, you know?
Well, I don't know, and well, it's really just the property values and stuff, and that's that's what changed my life is the I did good in the security camera industry, but my father left me with a house that's like a block and a half from downtown.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
And I no longer live there because I sold it, and for an obscene amount of money. So it's the location. You know what I mean? And
right.
So, yeah. So that's part of that deal. But now it was right what you're saying about the people moving to Austin and Californians and all this stuff. But keep in mind, Austin, as in contrast or in juxtaposition to the rest of Texas, Austin is one of the most liberal cities in the United States.
Exactly.
So it's not. I don't vote, and I'm not a liberal or a conservative, but I kind of you might almost say I'm a closet conservative. Because I do agree with a lot of things that the conservatives, have, but all my friends are liberals, so
right.
I just kind of when in Rome, do as the Romans, but yeah.
Sure. I'm a capitalist, that's for sure. I love capitalism, and I like the Second Amendment. You got to have the Second Amendment. So if freedom of speech, freedom of speech. So I guess I'm a conservative, but I'm definitely a capitalist.
Yeah. I like. Hey, I'm glad you pointed out that shirt. That's kick ass, dude. That's kick ass.
Yeah. Man, let me show you the back. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but the peace sign with the guns.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I don't know if that was me squatting my ass or what was going. Oh no.
Well, you'll find out when I publish the video. Or no, and let me just mention, just on a technical note, and we can edit this out if you like, but what I told you I would do, and what I will do is I will send you the raw footage, of this,
right.
Of this deal, so you said you have Vegas Pro, and so you can edit it up, do it however you like,
right,
and I'll send you the details. But anyway, I can send you 3 different files. I can send you a file where you and me are like side by side in a tile deal, and that's where most of my videos you see it like that. But I can also send you a file that's just you, and a file that's just me.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
So, what made you want to get into YouTube, and maybe who were some of your mentors?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I was fixing to tell you. I was fixing to brag about that I got mentioned on the Bases episode. But you're the one that told me that.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, and I went and checked that out, and that was interesting. And I have been talking to Duncan, the grid keeper. But if you ask about some of my mentors, without a doubt, Miles Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I had him on my show a few months ago. We had a show that was a good show. He was telling me about G5, Wi-Fi, and all the dangers of that. So we had a really good time talking, and we keep in touch on Facebook. And when I went to that 46 minutes into that video that you're telling me about, I think it's Bases 88 Part 7.
Correct.
Where they were talking about Brandon Young, and then somehow I got mentioned. Oh no, yeah, Gridkeeper mentioned Texas Bases. So
right.
And then Miles said something about, yeah, that Greek guy. Which is funny because I'm not Greek, you know. I mean, I think Greek is cool, but yeah, obviously the name which is, you know, my pseudonym, which is not my real name, and that, you know, that's not a secret. It is. It definitely sounds Greek because it's what it is, you know, A-N is, even though I spell it A-Y-I-N, it's really supposed to be A period N period, you know, like the initials A-N, and then my last name Thropos. So you put it all together, it says Anthropos, you know, the human being.
Right.
So that's what's behind all that, and that's why I made it like that. And then after I had made it like that and had it for a while, what tripped me out is I started finding out that A-N was a real word in several different languages. Some very deep, profound meanings and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is like making my head spin and everything. But yeah, I guess I'm that Greek guy.
I think it's cool how those little minor things work out like that. You know, it's almost like it was like destined or meant to be. You know.
Oh yeah, it's like, or you know, like you're being, you know, led to. You know, you're being guided somehow. You know.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, there's definitely, and there's been a lot of that in my life, but I mean, it's accelerated beyond like light speed this last couple of years.
That's awesome.
Especially, you know, with the advent of doing this channel and doing some of the other things, like, you know, my travels to investigate. You know, I've been into these elongated skulls my whole life since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's many pictures of elongated skulls out there, but for the longest time, 70s, 80s, 90s, there was really one picture that stood out the most, that's the one that everyone had seen and has burned into their memories, and it is skull number 176. That's what I call it, and I think that's probably officially what it's called, because on the side of its head is written with a magic marker, 176. You know,
easy enough.
Yeah, with a magic marker. You know, whatever the anthropologist or whoever at the day, you know, they're like, who knows what they're doing, but they wouldn't do that today. You know, write on a skull with a magic marker. You know, so yeah, some of these skulls have like writing on them and stuff with like a magic marker, and this one's in big thick lines, you know, 176. But we went to the Juan Navarro Museum in Paracas, Peru. We now know that these people of the elongated skulls are called the Paracas people, and that's because the largest group of the ones that they can find are in a cemetery called the Chongo Cemetery, and that's very interesting because the skull number 176, written on its forehead, again with a magic marker, is the word Chongo. And in Spanish, that means monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very bizarre. And all I can think of is that that's just a derogatory name that was given to them back then. Oh, it's a monkey. I mean, even though they don't look like a monkey. Whoever wrote that didn't think it was a monkey, obviously. You know, but I think it was just derogatory. And so suddenly, this cemetery, its official name cannot be Chongo, you know, but that's what it's called. But anyway, so we went down there, and I went to the museo, and it was closed, because of the storm and the damages to the storm, which was less than 2 weeks before we arrived there, and I didn't know anything about it, and my conspiracy, you know, alarm went off like, oh, they knew I was coming down here, you know, and I mean, my hopes were just dashed. I mean, I was just like, I tried, you know, kept a strong countenance. I was with two crew members that I took down there. But anyway, we went back to the Cocopelli, which is a hostel. They call them backpacks now. Just all these young, beautiful, beautiful people. All these chicks at the pool. Just, you know, oh, I can go on and on about that.
I bet.
Yeah, man. And then they have games every night, you know, Twister and all this stuff. And you're just out here with all these chicks from other countries and stuff, just chilling. And then, get this, man, the guy who was a security guy, he was also the cocaine dealer.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and so we're talking, you know, Peru, you know, it supplies 93% of the world's cocaine, so you can imagine it was some pretty good shit, you know.
Yeah, it's not stepped on. That's the
right,
good.
Yeah, you'd be amazed how much you get for like $5.
Right. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hear.
But anyway.